session is on chemical vitiligo and update. A speaker is Dr. Sanjay Ghosh sir, and the chairperson for this session is Dr. Anil Ganju sir. Dr. Anil Ganju sir, a well-known name, he heads the Department of Dermatology in several prestigious Delhi institutions. The recipient of prestigious Dr. Sardari Lal Memorial Lifetime Achievement Award, awarded by IADVL. He has been President SARC, past Vice President IADVL, National, past President IADVL, Delhi State Branch. He has authored various chapters and publications. We welcome you, sir. And we invite you to introduce the speaker, Dr. Sanjay Ghosh, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Dr. Dinesh Mathur and team, Dr. Ifat Hassan for putting up such a wonderful show. It's been really, really interesting, and I am honored to chair this session on chemical vitiligo or leukoderma, presented by none other than a very, very close and dear friend, Dr. Sanjay Ghosh. I have not met him personally for a long, long time, but I'm seeing him there on the screen and really feeling delighted to see you, sir. I have the honor and pleasure to introduce you. Sir is a very, very well-known name all over the country. Particularly, he has put in a huge amount of work as far as contact dermatitis is concerned, particularly the contact, leukoderma. Sir is the professor and HOD, former professor and HOD, Medical College and LSK Hospital, and the ex-director Institute of Allergic and Immunological Skin Diseases in Kolkata. Has huge number of publications and presentations to his credit. Has been awarded the Ambadi Oration in 2014 Dermacon. Has been the past vice president of the CODFI, ex-convener of the IADVL. Thanks for making that full screen. He has been the convener of the IADVL Psoriasis Therapeutic Guideline, ex-coordinator of the IADVL Psoriasis SIG group, ex-member of the IADVL SIG urticaria. So large number of accolades to his credit. Areas of interest are particularly contact dermatitis, dermatitis, urticaria, and vitiligo. And he's going to deliberate on a very important topic of contact leukoderma, which is very important to differentiate from vitiligo vulgaris, because this is something that we can, really take care of by removing the allergen and then treating the disease locally rather than vitiligo vulgaris, which needs systemic presentation. I invite you, sir, to make your presentation. Dr. Sanjay Ghosh, please.
Am I audible, please?
Yes, sir.
My slides are visible.
Yes, they are. You have to go full screen. No, sorry. Your presentation is not visible as of now, sir.
Why not?
Please share your presentation and make it full screen.
Sir, share screen.
Oh, now I think.
Yeah. Please go to full screen and go ahead, sir.
Yes. Now.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks to Dr. Professor Dinesh Mathur for inviting me to speak on this very auspicious seminar. And thanks to my dear friend, Dr. Anil Ganju, for chairing this session and for very nice introduction. And after a long time we are meeting, though it's virtually. I think very soon we'll meet physically. So my topic is chemical vitiligo and update. So we must remember Albert Einstein's words that imagination is more important than knowledge. This we keep in remember when thinking the clinical subjects. So first, I'm giving an overview of chemical leukoderma. By definition, it is an acquired vitiligo-like condition due to repeated exposure to specific chemical compounds. And this is not dependent at all on the sensitizing potential of the material, and it is completely separate from post-inflammatory depigmentation and Koebner in vitiligo. First, it was identified in 1939 from acid cure gloves. Later on, first report from India by Dr. Pandhi from Bindi and footwear, and later by Professor Bajaj from this synthetic leather and Alta, the feet decorative cosmetic. And now this disorder become almost global, reported almost every country from the world. Now this is Maggie et al. Have put forward some hypotheses how this is occurring, because they are proposing that vitiligo patients are actually lower sensitivity threshold to normal stress levels or face an increased level of stress than normal individuals. And actually the vitiligo, the innate immunity now giving very much importance, and this innate immunity is acting as a bridge between the cellular stress and the adaptive immunity. Now, they've already found that in vitiligo patient, the TREG-mediated control of autoreactive CD8 plus T cell are lacking. Now, a lot of chemicals we all know has been attributed to cause chemical leukoderma. Mostly these are phenolic and catecholic derivatives. And it could be also others like sulfhydryl group like cysteamine dihydrochlorides. And there are other chemicals like myrcurocyanamic aldehyde in the toothpaste, PPD in this hair dye, chloroquine, ammoniated mercury, vinyl lacquerate are. And very common chemicals in our day-to-day products like germicidal detergent, varnish, insecticide, disinfectants, adhesive deodorant may cause. This is from the rubber gloves. In the morning, my dear friend, Professor Dr. Sanjeev Handa told about the latex allergy, but we have to remember also that latex may cause this chemical leukoderma very commonly. And hair dye also reported from our India by Dr. Bajaj and from the abroad, toothpaste in the cinnamic aldehyde, rubber sandal very commonly causing this chemical leukoderma, first reported from India by Dr. Pandey, 1985. This is from the rubber sandal chemical leukoderma. This is from synthetic leather, MBH, agent first reported by Professor Bajaj. This is from the lipstick, the nail polish, the bindis. This is from very commonly used by Hindu women, that is sindoor. Also the alda used by these Hindu ladies, this also reported by Dr. Bajaj. And this is a necklace string color azodite. This can cause chemical leukoderma. From amulet string color is again azodite. So clinically, chemical leukoderma could be vitiligo-like macules in a spread to remote area, even the non-contact area. That's very important. And confetti macules are common, and there may be associated leukomelanoderma. And we have to remember that like contact dermatitis, irritant or allergic contact dermatitis is not at all a prerequisite factor for development of chemical leukoderma. This we can see plenty of confetti macules, which is a very important diagnostic point of chemical leukoderma. This is leukomelanoderma. This is another case of leukomelanoderma. Now, what's the new? Actually, we reported the largest case series of the world, 864 cases, in the British Journal of Dermatology in 2009. And this paper has been cited in various journals as well as textbooks, including the Rook textbook. And this is actually the innate immunity I already told becoming very much stressed in this development of this vitiligo and chemical leukoderma. So we reported that chemical leukoderma may be associated with idiopathic vitiligo. Face is the commonest sites, and household objects we got plenty as compared to industrial agents, which is common in their country. And we first proposed the term chemical vitiligo. Even after stopping the offending chemicals more than 1 year, we got new vitiliginous patches can appear. So this is important. And therapeutic response is always better in pure chemical leukoderma as compared to idiopathic vitiligo. We got commonest in our series, hair dye 27.4%. So this is common, we know the hair dye is causing this depigmentation, Mostek also. And this has been reported all over the world from various reports. And also it can happen from black socks and also the black shoes, from deodorants, and also the this sticker of the shirts. We prefer the term chemical leukoderma because contact, even the non-contact area it can develop, and occupational leukoderma because it is very common from the household objects in our developing countries like India. So occupational leukoderma, the word should not be used. So we prefer the term chemical leukoderma in our paper. Now, how we can explain these different clinical and etiological features of chemical leukoderma? So we propose a syndromic approach. It is just like the allergic contact dermatitis syndrome as proposed by the International Contact Dermatitis Group. So we propose chemical leukoderma stage 1, that is only at site of contact. It could be local spread through lymphatics. It could be a distant spread through hematogenous way. So this is the stage 1 chemical leukoderma. This is stage 2 lymphatic spread. This stage 3 hematogenous spread. This red, actually this bangle is causing this primary contribution. Now stage 3B, there could be some systemic organ involvement, and akin to the systemic contact dermatitis, we can get stage 3C, that is by injection, inhalation or ingestion, though this stage has not proved yet. Sorry. And the stage 4, we already told that chemical vitiligo, even after stopping chemicals, it can develop to remote area. So this is important, we term the words chemical vitiligo. The Boise, very important author in this field, he welcomed our staging and he told it's very appropriate for this contact leukoderma. Now, how we can diagnose, because there is not much clinical points, also the laboratory assays, because a patch test is not very standardized here and not ethical also. So this we propose a clinical diagnostic criteria. Acquired vitiligo-like depigmented lesion, first one. Number 2, history of repeated exposure to specific chemical compounds. Number 3, patterned vitiligo-like macules conforming to the site of exposure. Number 4 is a comforting macules. Any 3 among above 4 criteria. And this is published in British Journal, and this has been actually accepted by Andrews Disease of the Skin, and they are repeating in every of this edition, even the last one, 13th, this particular clinical diagnostic points. Now, what's the interlink between chemical leukoderma and idiopathic vitiligo? That is a very million-dollar question. So this is clinical basic immunology by Gaspari and Stephen. Actually, we all know that some chemicals may cause damage to the melanocyte. And in our food, beverage, and plants, there are a lot of chemicals which are melanocytotoxic and cause leukoderma. So basically, we can postulate all from this book that all vitiligo are chemically induced, but the chemicals are yet unknown in all the cases. Gellin in 1970 first proposed that idiopathic vitiligo may be environmentally or occupationally induced leukoderma. And Fisher, very important author in this contact dermatitis, he told that actually some of the idiopathic vitiligo may be due to unsuspected inhalation or ingestion of chemicals. And Well, the father figure of Indian dermatology, he commented in 1971 that incidence of vitiligo he found more commoner in villagers living near dyeing, printing, and carpet industries. And Cumming and Norland, an important worker in this field, he told that actually chemical leukoderma caused by unidentified melanocyte chemicals may cause vitiligo also. So this is JAD 2011, this elaborate article on vitiligo. They have actually quoted all our paper, and particularly the chemicals which may cause contact leukoderma, and also it can cause remote area, non-contact area, that they highlighted. We published another international papers, that is effect of chemical exposure in induction and evolution of vitiligo, correlation between duration of exposure and disease and site of exposure onset, and impact upon awareness. We got household chemicals like our previous paper, 94.6% as compared to 0.4% only in case of industrial chemicals. And we got no correlation between the duration of disease and duration of chemical exposure. And by avoidance, we saw the fully compliant patients have, and the non-compliant patient, there is difference is statistically significant. But this is not significant in case of partial compliant and non-compliant. And correlation of the site of chemical exposure and site of onset of disease we found in 64.9%. This very another important paper, actually landmark paper on this vitiligo interplay in oxidative stress and autoimmunity by Glassman et al. Actually, oxidative stress is very important, all we know, in the principal cause of vitiligo. So interplay between reactive oxygen species and the immune system, the pathogenesis of vitiligo has been defined. So the same mechanism may occur between the vitiligo and the chemical leukoderma, and the elucidate trigger factor and reason for progression and chronicity. So depigmentation can go to the distant area, what is actually supporting our data, and actually depigmentation in both the cases causing from the lost melanocytes. So this is another manga they have told. If we understand how the 4 tertiary butane phenol causing the melanocyte death, then we can understand the pathology behind the contact vitiligo and the idiopathic vitiligo. So this is innate immunity I told already, and they are telling that environmental insults, including UV lights, chemical phenols, these are very important in the triggering of vitiligo. This is a paper from Japan. They have shown that it is almost epidemic of vitiligo by a skin lightening cream. 16,000 users developed vitiligo, is reported in 2015. So our journey from chemical leukoderma to chemical vitiligo was not very smooth and easy. We first proposed the term that chemical vitiligo that I already told, stage 4. And this was the first possible relationship between chemical leukoderma and vitiligo. And Dr. Harris, now very important author in this field, he in this very important article, chemical induced vitiligo, he in this dermatology clinics, he wanted to remove the word chemical leukoderma like us, and he told chemical induced vitiligo will be more appropriate term. And he told actually skin depigmentation after chemical exposure, chemical phenol exposure is not different from vitiligo. And this chemical induced vitiligo and non-chemical induced vitiligo appear same spectrum, clinically, histologically, and pathologically. So the chemical induced vitiligo will be more rational term as per Dr. Harris. So it is actually supporting our observation and data we are studying for so long. So on this topic, this Indian Journal of Dermatology 2020 November, December, I wrote an elaborate article, review article. So you can, if you are interested, you can go to the article. There I want to put forward that chemical leukoderma was first conceptualized as a distinct separate disease, but actually both are separate, not separate. It is actually similar in etiology, clinical factor, and histology. And before stamping a disease vitiligo, we should go for elaborate history and definitely clinical observation. So that will tell us that this could be some chemically induced vitiligo. So definitely chemical leukoderma can be definitely be considered a subset of vitiligo, and chemical triggering factors definitely a significant role in induction and progression of vitiligo. So let's dream for a day when not a single skin disease will remain idiopathic. Thank you all for patient hearing.
Thank you. It was indeed an excellent presentation. Chairperson.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Dr. Ghosh, for such an eye-opening presentation. You know, it's always a pleasure listening to you because you put in so much of work into this field that it's always a pleasure to learn. And before I close, I would like to thank Dr. Ghosh and also the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much and a wonderful job done. Thank you, Dr. Dinesh Mathur, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.